All right, welcome back to this video series for the Community Renewable Energy Grant Program, where we are going through the key application sections and questions for the planning opportunity announcement portions or application questions. Again, just want to remind you that we're not going through every single question on the application. That these questions are kind of the key questions as they relate to the competitive review scoring criteria that you will find in the opportunity announcement for your respective type of planning project. We're going to, in this section, we're going to jump into what is a very important section for the application, the project description. And before I get going, I just want to ask Clay if he's got anything he wants to add in before we move forward.
But this is the part of the presentation where I remind everybody to please make sure that either or before filling out your application, please make sure you've read through in its entirety the opportunity announcement that relates to your program and the user guide that we have online for the application. Because it's an online application, and it's much easier if you prepare all your answers as much as you can offline based on what's in the opportunity announcement and the user guide. Because sections and questions overlap and relate to each other, if you just dive into the online application and start filling it out, section 1 through 11, you'll end up getting a little bit disoriented, and preparation is the key to a really strong application.
And I just would like to add to that the application user guides do include every single question on the application of what Clay was alluding to. And these are just sort of key breakouts, as I mentioned before. Also, before we dive into the project description section, do just want to make a special note that anywhere in the application where you'll see the word project or system or this is referring specifically to the renewable energy system or that system with a resilient component that you're proposing as a planning project. This is not a part of maybe a larger, broader construction project that's being proposed that's in the planning stage, or a renovation or something of that nature. Those broader project details, they might be in some of your additional supporting materials, your budgets, etc. But we're asking questions specific to that renewable energy system or that system with resiliency that you're proposing to enter into a planning phase and hopefully move into construction installation of that at a later date down the line. Just wanted to make that note. And with that, we'll go ahead and jump in here to one of the very first questions in section 6. Briefly describe the site where this proposed renewable energy system will be located. And what we're looking for here is really an adequate description and assessment of the suitability of the site for this particular renewable energy system, this project. And if known, or if already determined, please include the current site ownership or the plan and the progress that is taking place at this planning stage or pre-planning stage to secure site ownership if the applicant is not the site owner. Clay, do you have anything you'd like to add on this one?
Yeah, but this one and most of the questions in this section relate back to the strength of your application or the strength of the project that you are trying to plan. And that is just the reminder up in the green bar on every one of these slides. It gives you the related scoring criteria so that you can plan for that and go and review the scoring criteria to make sure that you're answering with all the details that your project includes to get the highest score possible.
All right, thank you for that. Moving forward, this is a priority scoring opportunity question, and that is describe any prior investments in energy efficiency measures at the project location or how, if at all, the proposed project will result in aggregate improvements to demand response capabilities. And what we are looking for here, again, keyword prior investments in energy efficiency measures at this project location or within the applicant. Some of the evidence here could be utility or Energy Trust of Oregon project documentations from the past. financial statements demonstrating those prior investments. And I'll go ahead and toss it to Clay if he has any more here that he'd like to add.
The highlight on the competitive review scoring criteria for this one is that it's a standalone scoring for prior investments. This is specifically outlined in the legislature that they wanted to give a priority to those organizations that have already put money and effort toward increasing energy efficiency in their systems.
Okay, excellent. And we'll keep moving forward here to one of the next key questions is please provide a summary overview of the project concept. Include technologies, major components, configuration and use. Include descriptions of any pre-planning, engineering studies or calculation and or planning that's already been done as a part of this planning project. And, what we're really looking for here is, this is where we want to get that brief summary of your project, your proposed project. And that's kind of including the anticipated major system equipment, the installation type, location, intended purpose. This could even include kind of the expected results and community benefits. And then, of course, if there are any pre-technical details or pre-planning planning details, this would be a good spot for you to be able to upload that as supporting details, supporting materials to your response for this particular question. And Clay, do you have anything you want to add here?
So the detail in this question will get scored in the project strength section of the competitive review, and you'll see that as just one of the line items if you go to the scoring criteria in the opportunity announcement.
Okay, and in this section, as we're moving forward, it's in project description, but it is getting into some of these qualifying environmental justice, community equity, community benefits questions. Is the community renewable energy project located in a qualifying environmental justice community? If the answer to that question is yes, you'll have a second question that comes up, and that is describe in detail how and to what extent the community qualifies as an environmental justice community. What we're looking for here is specific details about the local environmental justice qualifying communities being served by the proposed projects, or that would be served by the proposed project as it moved into a construction installation phase. In addition, to assist with this question, we do have in the resources section on the webpage, we have a document that's a list of helpful resources. At the top of that document, there's links to various federal programs, research programs that you can use to enter in different information to your locality, and you'll get information back in terms of being able to show or get metrics back about various environmental justice communities in your area. Clay, do you want to add something here?
Well, this is scored under the equity section of the competitive scoring guide, and so take a look at that. This also gets to the question of what is an environmental justice community, and I won't go into those details other than to say, because we covered in other areas, other than to say that we do not give specific definitions to the individual types of environmental justice communities that are listed in the definition. And so that's what we're looking for here is, how have you determined that this is an environmental justice community or serving an environmental justice community? What definition did you use, and to what extent and how is this location meeting that definition?
Excellent. And Clay actually brings up a really good point. If you have not watched, or if you have not viewed the prior videos in this series, Clay does do a little bit more of a breakout of this piece of the environmental justice community breakdown in the very first video on the program, the Community Renewable Program overview video. It's a short one, but there's some good information in there about this that will help guide. And then we also do recommend watching each of these videos as they're in order. before doing your application. And so with that, we'll go ahead and move into our next question. This is another one of those that'll come up on the application. It's kind of a two-parter. You'll be asked a yes, no. On yes, it'll reveal the second. And that question is, does the Community Renewable Energy Project primarily serve members of a qualifying environmental justice community? And then if yes, describe the qualifying environmental justice community and detail how the members of the qualifying community are those primarily served by the planned Community Renewable Energy Project. Now, of course, you're in a planning phase, but so this does relate back to the prior question, and those resources we spoke about that are on the webpage can be used here. But you are looking at forecasting, if this is a focus of your project as well, forecasting what that impact could be to those communities. And Clay, do you have some additional details you'd like to add here?
Well, this is still also under the equity section of the scoring guide, and it is related to the previous question, obviously. And so this is an opportunity in the planning section for you to strengthen your application by actually going through all of the details of the program and possibly tweaking your project, because you're only in the planning stage, to better address these equity and environmental justice aspects that the legislature put into this program.
Right, that's an excellent point, especially for our planning projects. As we move forward into one of the other key questions in section 6 is, please describe the renewable energy resource the project will utilize, include the levels of supply for the energy resource, and how the system will access the resource. To help with this, to help applicants in the second round, we have created, it's a simple guide, but it's the resource assessment guide on the program webpage. You'll find that in the sidebar tab labeled applicant help. We do advise taking a look at that. It'll give you a little bit more idea of what you're looking at determining. That'll help you answer this particular question about the resources for your particular project or planning project. Clay, do you have anything more you want to add here?
Well, this plays into the strength of your application and the strength of your project. And so the more work you can do ahead of time and put into the application in assessing the renewable energy resource you're going to be planning for, it just makes it a stronger, potentially higher scoring application.
Yep, that's an excellent point. And so as we continue on through section 6, please describe how the system will connect or transmit energy to the community identified in the application. And what we're looking at here is, in addition to the response, that you could even upload some supporting documentation, excuse me, such as the project plan scope or a letter of intent regarding utility interconnection may be uploaded. But what we're looking at is how the system is going to connect in and transmit energy to that community. Is that going to be through interconnection? Is that going to be, into an energy storage based system? And as much detail as you can provide here. Clay, do you have some additional guidance here?
No, I think you've hit all the high points on this one. It is related to the equity section of the scoring criteria. And so, those details that you have planned out will help your score.
Right, and helping that score to those communities, and in many cases, drilling that even further down into the qualified environmental justice communities and how your project is going to have that impact there. All right, and we're going to continue to move forward through the Section 6 project description. And on this question, it's going to relate pretty much specifically to those planning projects that are going to have a resilience component built into that project. And the question is, please describe how the Community Renewable Energy Project would support the energy resilience of structures or facilities essential to the public welfare. Include how the energy resilience will be increased and the energy resilience benefits the project will bring. And what we're looking for here is, we're looking for you to describe that structure or facility that this planning project is going to have an impact to, who is going to be impacted by that in the community, how they're going to be impacted within that in that planning project if that planning project materializes into a construction installation project. In addition, you can detail, how well that proposed project is going to support or increase the particular community's energy resilience within overall buildings or structures or facilities. And a part of this program priority is always if it's going to be essential to the public welfare. And I'll go ahead and toss over to Clay if he has any more to add here.
This is a standalone scoring criteria for energy resilience. So it's very important if that's the grant you're applying for, that you have a good description of the who, what, where, when, why of the resilience in connection with the definition for this program, which Jason just outlined. And so that backup power of a grid outage and how long it's going to last, who it's going to serve, and how long it's going to serve them, things like that.
Yeah, I think that's a great assessment there. And so with that, we're going to continue on into this next section 6 question. Key question is describe the community buildings, infrastructure, or other community assets that will benefit from the proposed system. And so this kind of ties, if you're in a resilience project, kind of ties to the last one, but what we're looking for is a little broader aspect here, or if you're in just a renewable only project, we're looking for more of a broader assessment of the local and or drilling down into the qualifying environmental justice community benefits that are essential to public welfare for this particular planning project. And Clay, do you have any more you want to add in there?
This ties in as well with equity scoring criteria, and so describing who you're serving and how you're serving them with your project is the key aspect here. And again, an example from round 1 would be where a city partnered with a community agency, and the system was put on that community agency, and so they went into great detail about the population that they serve in that community agency and how they serve them, and the net metering and the backup capabilities that were provided by their project.
Excellent. Thank you, Clay. And so in this last key question under section 6 is if the community renewable energy project will add capacity to or be paired with an existing renewable energy system, provide a description of the existing renewable energy system. So relatively self-explanatory here is that, what we want to do and what we want to know is if there's already an existing system in place and you're adding to it or pairing with that as part of your planning project. We just want to know more details about that particular system. You could even include answer into the provide your response, but you could even strengthen this by uploading existing photos, as-built designs, any of those types of supporting documentation or materials. Clay, do you want to add anything here?
In this one, if you don't have existing renewable energy system, don't feel the need to fill it in with something else or to expand upon your current project. This is a very specific requirement of the program, and if you have it, then describe it, but also keep it separate from the planning that you're doing for the new system. We had some applications in round 1 that sort of confused and overlapped existing as being part of their new project. And you want to keep those things separate when it comes to the details of the project, and just explain to us how you're tying in to what you already have.
I think that's an excellent point. I just want to take a moment. Thank you all for continuing through this series. We hope it's helpful. In the next video, we're going to be going through the project plan in its own video to point out those key questions there as well. And again, I'm Jason. On behalf of Clay, just want to say thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you.